What is going on, Paragon community? I wanted to make a video today, pretty much just going over what happened yesterday with the whole pay to win thing. Made a video on that. Pretty much just calling everything, the whole diamond pack, being able to get cards and whatnot, a pay to win thing, which it was. And most of us were able to figure that out pretty quickly. What am I doing here? What did I just do? Most of us were able to figure that out pretty quickly. The problem with that is, though, and the one thing I think is interesting about that is that it happened so quickly because we were so vocal about, not like we really disagreed with it. The community was extremely vocal on Reddit, on YouTube, Facebook, pretty much any sort of platform, and it kind of forced some sort of response out of Epic. And then as a result, we saw it patched and fixed within 24 hours. That is, so many gaming companies have the power to do things like that I think it would amaze you. But why would they do that and take the time out to do that if no one was complaining? If there was no I'm not going to call it complaint. I'm going to say feedback, negative feedback, because I think complaining gives it like a weird gives you a weird vibe around it. When in reality, you're just giving feedback. They made a change, and we're, as people who are playing the game, the change was for us. We gave our feedback on it. That's perfectly fine. And I think that's something that should happen more in more games. I think that we would have a much better gaming community if that was something that we did more often. But unfortunately, even yesterday, as people are saying, "Hey guys, this isn't right. This is like pay to win." People are still defending it, saying why it isn't. We're refusing to look at it from a different perspective, and that ultimately, put the community at odds. But giving feedback, whether it's positive or negative, is always going to be good for the game, any game, because without it, how will they know what they need to change? And without it, how will they know what kind of stand the community is willing to make? For instance, there's a popular game out right now called Destiny 2. And I think anybody like myself who's been playing Destiny since September 9th, 2014, I don't play anymore. I've completely left that bandwagon. But you'll realize that the community very rarely complained or gave meaningful feedback. It was very rare that anyone really gave good feedback, and because of it, we now have a Destiny 2 multiple years later running at 30 frames per second, which is just laughable in 2017. It's laughable for one of the most profitable games on the planet to be running at 30 frames per second. Of course, you can get it higher on a laptop or on a PC, but I mean, come on, man. I don't have that. I have a PS4. Why is Battlefield, Battlefront, Paragon, everything else able to run in these smooth graphics, but Destiny can't? And I'll tell you why. That could have been fixed, but no one really complained. No one really made a stand about it. The community did not make a stand about it. It was kind of the majority was just kind of it is what it is. I just love the game. I don't really care. And because of that, multiple years later, we now have a game that isn't worth the money. We have a game that does not hold up to its competitors, and that's not something I want to see for Paragon. Because as of right now, Paragon is the only MOBA like this as of right now. But you'd be a fool to believe that there isn't a company right now planning to compete with this game. You'd be a fool to believe that. And when that happens, if we don't give the feedback, if we don't voice the opinions and things like that, then the other game will ultimately win. And a good example of this is pretty much like, once again, Destiny and this new game coming out called Anthem. Anthem looks to be all of the things that Destiny was supposed to be, and when that comes out, we're really going to be able to see, how strong that fan base is. Will they jump ship? And that's not something I want to see for a game that I've invested hundreds of dollars in, tons of hours in. That's not something I want to see. That's not the kind of conversation I want to be having about Paragon in a few years. I don't want to be saying, well, dang, such and such is so much better. So it's important to get out there and give that feedback. It's important to really go ahead and be proactive and get on those websites and things like that and say what you want to say. Give that feedback back to the developer. It's not a bad thing, and it ultimately will help the game get better. But that's all, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'm out of here.